All right, we're back. Dynasty Trades in 5. I'm Clay.
Shane, I hope you don't scrub this video.
I'm Scott. This might be the first player profile we've done where I'm actually as tall as the player.
Yeah, so welcome if you're new to the channel. We do a few different types of shows here on Dynasty Trades in 5. We do trade shows, strategy shows, like the last one we dropped, and then our core was around individual player shows. So that's what we're doing tonight. But check out the channel, click around. We got playlists where you can sort by position, or go check out the trade or the strategy shows as well. So talking about Kyler Murray tonight. Where are your guys' heads at on him? He's obviously been in the news a lot. Still a dynasty stud. Shane, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so last year it came out of the blocks just on fire, right? He had 2 QB1 weeks in a row, and people, that fall for recency bias like me, might have started thinking, you know what, maybe Kyler is the QB1 in fantasy. Maybe it's him. He really cooled down, so much so. And then I think the playoff game obviously left a bad taste in everybody's mouth when he looked absolutely clueless and he shot putted a touchdown to the opposing defense from his own 2. And I guess the fact that he's scrubbed his social media might make people nervous, which to me never really makes me nervous. If you're a stud player, you're going to be a stud player no matter where you're playing. Like, what's the worst that happens? Kyler ends up in Philadelphia. Oh no, then I'll have to run more. Like I said, the beginning of the year, it looked like he really stepped up. You thought you had maybe someone to challenge Pat Mahomes. Little did Josh Allen. We thought we had a guy that could challenge for that. Now he's kind of fallen back into that. I'd say that, and it's not a wide golf, but like the second tier, where there's like Josh Allen, Herbert, Mahomes, and then Kyler, Lamar's like in between them somewhere. So maybe like a tier and a half. Is that like 3 tiers and 4 players? Whatever. I'll do as many tiers as I want to. But if anyone's panic selling on him because of how bad his playoff game was, or because he doesn't want to be friends with the Arizona Cardinals, I'm definitely fine with taking him.
Kyler, I mean, we have to remember in week 8, he hurt that ankle, and it was an injury where it didn't look that bad. And then it was like a mysterious injury for, a week or 2. And it's like, oh, he's going to be fine. Ended up missing a few games, came back, was never the same, led the league in passer rating the first 7 weeks. So he's really good. His yards per attempt was in the top 5 in the first 7 weeks. Then that week 8 injury happened. That was the same week that Hopkins got hurt. So I think you can almost look at like it was a case of 2 seasons for Kyler. I was down on Kyler last year because his passing efficiency was pretty bad. This year is actually really good. If you run some of the same numbers, I mean, he was really good from an efficiency standpoint. But like Shane said, he didn't run. So how much of the running might come back next year? He only ran for 400 yards. Can that be 700 next year if he has a healthy ankle? So right now, I mean, ADP wise, like I said, I think he's in that, or like Shane said, I think he's in like a second tier of quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. But you can argue that he's probably the QB4, QB5. I mean, I think him and Lamar Jackson are very similar. Lamar's 2020 was really good. His 2021 was bad. Kyler's 2020 was bad. His 2021 was pretty good. From a fantasy perspective, both dealt with injuries. Both have a higher ceiling, I think, than some other guys that are probably going to be in the same tier. So I think you have to consider that. If he's actually due for a bounce back year, if he can take what he did on the ground before 2021 and combine it with some of the efficiency that he had in 2021 and stay healthy, I mean, I think he still has a higher ceiling than all but 2 or 3 quarterbacks in Dynasty. So for me, I'm trying to buy more shares versus being scared with the latest narrative.
So would you rather have Jalen Hurts and the 102 or Kyler Murray?
Let's see. 12 teams, start 10, I assume. I think I'd still go Kyler.
Yeah, that's Kyler in a smash. If someone will let me make that trade with them in any league I'm in, I have several Hertz shares, and I will get the 102 somehow. I would absolutely smash that. I would drive over to someone's house to thank them for that offer.
So would you rather have Kyler and the let's say 111 or Burrow and a 23 first projected early?
Early?
Yeah, I take the Burrow side because I mean, honestly, I think you could probably trade Burrow for Kyler, and you could probably trade Burrow for Lamar Jackson. I think they're similar bets. So I think it's basically a 111 for a 23 first. I mean, we know the answer on that deal.
Yeah, you keep throwing out those 23 first, and then you say it's early. Well, of course I'm going to bite. But yeah, and Burrow, after regardless of what happens on Sunday, but we know the Bengals are going to win. There's going to be this just love fest for Burrow, where we just even more so than it is right now. So I think his value will continue to rise, and then I could trade Burrow and probably get back even more than that.
If you had Josh Allen, what would someone have to put on top of Kyler for you to trade away Josh Allen?
I mean, I think it's a savvy move, and I don't think it's as large as what people would probably say the market is, especially right now. Like if you have the balls to make that move right now with this, whatever the ambiguity is with Kyler's situation, I mean, I think that's a move where you can't get an extra first, but I think you have to hide the value to try to turn another asset into something that's worth a first. So if that's Josh Allen in the 204 and you get back a first, you know what I mean? Like that's the kind of move you'd have to make, and you just say 23 first is worth how much more than a 204? Double, triple. Yeah. So, I mean, if you can turn essentially a quarterback pivot, just moving down maybe a half a tier, maybe one tier, I think the range of outcomes are similar. So, yeah, I think that's a savvy move to try to hide something in there to turn it into a first.
I mean, I'm probably going to try to tack on a wide receiver. I'm probably going to get Deontay Johnson out of you or try. If you reject that, then I'll just slowly move down the board. But a player like that, where I know he's really good, even though a lot of the community hates him, I think mostly because Scott does. So a lot of the community follows what Scott says. I want something else with Kyler when I make that trade.
Well, let's say you get Jalen Waddle and Kyler. You give up the 23 first and Josh Allen.
That
I can see both people having appeal in that type of deal because of the 23 first. But you're winning the deal, Waddle for the 23 first. You know what I mean? That's where you're giving up the extra value because you're trading away Allen.
Yeah, Waddle's definitely one of those guys where you're like, all right, that's fair enough. I can make this happen, because I know if I randomly just try to give up the 23 first for Waddle, most people, sane people, are going to just laugh at me and throw things at me.
Typically, we don't like to tier down from the elite guys, but if you were getting paid enough, maybe you would. How far would you tier down though from Kyler? Would you move all the way back from like Kyler down to Tua if you're getting a ton on top, or what is the lowest you're going to tear down from him?
Kyler to Tua, basically Tua is just a throne at that point, because I'm still going to be like, well, I need 2 firsts. I still need, you know what I mean? Like I still need basically everything you would have sent to me anyway, with or without Tua, because no. They're not even in the same world.
I think if you're looking at DLF ADP, it's like QB 15, Stafford, Watson, Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, Lance. Like that tier is the farthest down I would go. And when you're down to Stafford, it's at least like a 23 first on top. Like it's a definite deal where I would have to get extreme leverage to do it. But if I'm moving down to, we're sitting here debating like how far down do you want to go? And I'm sitting here debating, okay, if I have Lawrence or Lance or Fields, how cheap can I go up to Kyler? You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm looking at to go the other way, is if these guys are going to get top 10 value, Lawrence or Fields or Lance, like, can I throw a couple seconds and get up to Kyler right now or something like that? I mean, that's kind of the move I'd try to make instead of going the other way.
Yeah. Like when you say we don't like trading, tearing down from elite guys, really don't like tearing down from elite guys in start 10. There's, like 7 guys at every position that I'm like, these are the guys I want. So if I have one of them, unless the rest of my team is just an absolute dumpster fire, I'm probably not going to move them. You're going to have to actually like just completely overpay, because that's the only way I'll feel comfortable moving off Kyler.
How about Trevor Lawrence on the 102 or Kyler?
Well, I have an offer right now, which is basically adding some extra pieces, and I'm giving up Trevor Lawrence and the 102 for Justin Herbert.
Do it now.
And it's a 14-teamer, so I'm sitting here going like, it's been sitting in my inbox all day, and I'm debating it.
14-teamer.
That's the same deal. I mean, you basically just, but it's for Herbert instead of for Kyler. So I think if I'm going to say yes or even debate it for Kyler, then I should be smashing that Herbert deal, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Which side? You taking T-Law or Kyler's side?
Kyler. As much as I gave up, even knowing that I gave up a lot for T-Law. I'm okay with that because, look, maybe he ends up being a top 10 quarterback, like, we thought coming into the class, but I know I'm getting a top 5 quarterback no matter what, assuming health. And the 102 in this class, you don't want it to be drafting a quarterback at 102. Like, you don't.
If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Poke around on the channel, subscribe if we earned your business, and check out our other shows. Talk to you soon.